So, up everyone, Pain Freak, the Freak Chef here. Today we're going to be doing waxing cheese. I got this beautiful block of this grand sharp white cheddar. Typically a loaf like this at a regular deli would be about 75 bucks. Last I priced it out, but found this place that has Walnut Creek. They're very rude. The place is not that clean. I'm taking a chance here, but this is packaged and it only cost me about $32 for this whole log. Normally, a block of this cheddar cheese would cost about $8. So I'm excited, and we're going to be waxing cheese today. So this is a great way to preserve cheese for a really long time, years. So of course this expires in about a year, later on this year, April. And so we got a few months on this in the package as is. Of course, you could freeze it if you want, but that doesn't really do cheese well. Waxing is the best way to store cheese long term, especially when you find such great deals and you're not going to use it all at once. So to do that, I have a couple things, and we're going to get into this when we start the waxing process. I have obviously some vinegar, a brush, and a little bowl. I'm going to get into that. It's going to be part of the first phase. I have some racks on a cooking sheet here, obviously gloves, a thermometer. This doesn't have to go up to 3,000 degrees. This is just a regular meat thermometer. It goes from like 0 to 220 degrees Fahrenheit. That's fine because we need to make sure our wax stays at a certain temperature. We're going to get into that. I have a knife to cut wax with, obviously my wax brush, and I make a double boiler out of these 2-oil pans I got at a flea market. I put water in this one, and I'm going to get into a couple hacks when it comes to how I have this set up, so you're not getting wax and everything all over your stovetop. It's a pain in the ass. So, and of course, we have our cheese and a cutting board. I'm going to go ahead and move this stuff off to the side for now, because we're not going to need it until later on. We're going to focus mostly on the first part. Now, when you start doing waxing cheese, especially harder cheeses, you want to make sure they're dry before you wax them. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut these into blocks that we're going to wax, but then we're going to put them in the refrigerator on a rack overnight, and we're going to brush them with vinegar. So let's start with opening this up. Okay. So I'm going to take off this end, and we'll reserve that for eating. Oh my God. Hey. Let's take our cheese knife, rock it back and forth, cutting through. I like to make them just a little over an inch, maybe about 1.5 inches thick each one. There we go. And we'll lay that right out on our rack. And we're going to leave one of these little blocks out. We're not going to wax them all because we're going to keep one in the fridge. There we go. So I'll wrap that up in plastic. I will enjoy some nice little slices right off that. So our cheese is all cut down now. The ones that we're going to wax, we're going to brush with vinegar. This is just regular white vinegar. And that's what this little cup and brush are for. I have one clean brush that I use just for the vinegar process, and that other brush with the wax all over it, obviously that's for the waxing process. So we're just going to take our brush now, and we're just going to brush each one with vinegar. We're going to get all sides too. What this is going to do is it's going to help kind of keep any bacteria and stuff from growing on the cheese that's not supposed to when we're preserving it with the wax. Take those, turn them over. Go. And we'll hit the other side with the vinegar too. Again, just a little light coat. Now you're not going to taste the vinegar. What we're going to do is we take this now, once we get these coated, so now we got all the sides, tops, bottoms, you name it. They all got a nice little coat of vinegar on there. And now this is going to stay in the fridge. You can sometimes go overnight, 6 hours, depending on how moist the cheese is. You want it to kind of dry out in the fridge. Of course, it stays cold at temperature. That vinegar is going to do its thing. It's going to dissipate. You're not going to taste it all, like I said. It's just going to keep bacteria and germs and all kinds of stuff that you don't want on your cheese from growing on your cheese, storing it long term once we get it in the wax. But this is going to go in the fridge now. I'm going to go overnight and let it dry age. So we're going to cold dry age it in the fridge. So we're going to do a little cleanup on this and get our stove ready. We're not just waxing cheese today. I'm also making a homemade stock with a ham bone I have from Christmas. So I'm finally going to do that. Just a nice day to kind of just stay in and not do anything because it really looks shitty outside. So I'm in no mood to go outside and play in the cold and rain. So this is an awesome day to do our cheese waxing, and we'll start making our homemade stock. All right, so moving on with our cheese waxing adventure here. Fun as fuck. Hell yeah. So I have a special thermometer that I use for cheese only. Because, of course, the wax and all that. I have my little double broiler set up going here. I got my brush softening up because I'm going to need that soon. So pretty much what this is a larger pot with water and a smaller pot with the wax in it, making a double broiler. Bring that up to a broil, melt the wax. And we're going to check this one more time. I think we're getting pretty close because we want our wax to be between 160 to 170 degrees. That seems to be the ideal temperature to kind of keep it at when waxing. It's soft enough for it to seal to the meat, to the cheese. And there we are. We're at 164. I'll take it. All right. So, of course, I took some precautions here to lay some stuff out to keep as much wax off the stovetop as possible, because this is a pain to clean up if it gets anywhere on the stovetop burners and all that. So I go a little overboard with some foil. I also have a tray here lined with foil and some wax paper on top that we're going to use to put our cheese on once we dip it in the wax. And of course, we have our cheese that we are ready to start dipping. So a couple different ways you can do this. You can brush it on. I like to dip it personally if you have something large enough to dip it in. And I will eventually redo my little cheese waxing setup one day. But for now, this is just fine. Brush is softened up so that we have it if we need it. And our wax is pretty much ready. I'm going to keep it just a little bit because once we start putting some of the cold cheese in, it will cool down. Now, I just want to show this to you. Remember last night we put it in the fridge after we cut it. We brushed it with vinegar and it's all dry now, ready to wax. Typically if you have a wetter cheese or you just made the cheese yourself and you put it on a rack, you may want to put like a paper towel down or something to catch some of the moisture. But cheese like this, it's not so bad right out of the block as, right out of the package. So here we go. This is quite easy. You're going to take your cheese, and I'm going to work in half sections here. We're going to go ahead and dip it in the wax and pull it out, just like that. That's all there is to it. And then we're going to set it down on our sheet. We're going to repeat the process with another piece of cheese. We're going right in the wax. Dip it, hold it for a second, pull it out. That's all there is to it. So you get those ends right in and out. And this is only the first dip. And what I do is I lay them out on cookie sheets just like that with the unwaxed side down now so it doesn't stick to the paper. And we're just going to keep repeating the process. Okay, there's a second dip on that one there now. And you don't want to leave it in too long either. You just want to give it a dip, hold it for a second or two, and then right out. If you hold it in there too long, you take a risk of melting the cheese, and you don't want to do that. Okay, so now this already had one full dip all the way around. It's only one layer. You'll see there's still some little openings on it, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and dip it again. And that'll start sealing up some of those others. So this had a double dip on one side, a single on another. Here's another one. It's ready for its second dip. There we go. And for some stubborn areas, I like to keep the brush handy. Just take that, blot it all in there just like that. A little more. There we go. And we can repeat that as needed with some of the others that had a double dip. I like to keep the brush in the wax so that it doesn't harden up again. So that's pretty much waxing cheese, everyone. And this will keep for many years, even in just a cool location, not necessarily in the fridge. So yeah, hope that helped. I'm going to keep waxing some of this up. I'm Pain Freak the Freak Chef. Check out all my other videos on my YouTube channel, the Freak Chef channel. Hopefully you guys are finding all my stuff there. I'm Pain Freak the Freak Chef. If you want me to cook for you or your party, or you have a special event, hit me up on my website, painfreakofficial.com. And this is how you wax cheese. Love you guys.